What's up, y'all? T. Stovall here, coming to you from beautiful downtown metropolitan Burkeville, Texas, where I am proud to announce that we have held COVID-19 at bay. A local law enforcement official, who shall remain anonymous because I've been to jail and I don't want to go back, told me the other day that he thinks it hadn't spread up here because the coronavirus is unfamiliar with the driving laws in the state of Texas, and it's parked at a four-way stop down in South Newton County waiting for the light to turn green. And you know what? He's as qualified as any other non-medical elected official to render a medical opinion, and that made more sense than anything I've heard out of politicians in Washington. So I'm going with that until something better comes along. If y'all drive through that four-way stop, keep an eye out for them, but don't tell them, okay? Just let them stay there. I have a confession to make today. And this will not come as a surprise to some of y'all. It may shock a few of you, but that's just kind of the nature of confessions, I guess. My mother was a white supremacist. And when I say that, and I'll expand on it a little bit, but I mean, in the true sense of the word, she was a white supremacist right down to her bone marrow till the day she died. And from the time I could sit up and pay attention, she hammered two things into me every chance she got. And thing one was that God created white people, and especially the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant people in our sacred United States of America. God created us just especially to run the world. And if the non-white, non-Christian, non-American people would just sit down, shut up, and behave, everything would be all right. Now let me say that again, because I'm going to make a point in a minute. Listen to what I said again. This is what my white supremacist mama taught. If the non-white, non-Christian, non-American people would just listen to what we had to say, everything would be okay. If that resonated with you, hold on. I got good news for you. Here's the second thing my mama taught me. God created black people inferior and subservient to the white man. Let me say that again. Some of y'all probably need to pick your jaws up. Some of you are, again, not surprised. My mama believed that God created black people inferior so they would be subservient to the white race. And y'all, let me tell you, I heard that every day of my life for 18 years. In fact, in 1964, when Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act, my mama came and got me from outside and put me in front of the TV and said, I want you to watch this. And, I'm 11 years old at the time. I kind of had an idea of how legislation, we'd studied a little of that, but it was boring as crap. Why do I have to watch this? She said, because that man is giving away your rights. And I watched it and believed her, right? But then years later, I studied the Civil Rights Act. And for years, I had this conflict in my mind of, okay, the Civil Rights Act was enacted. That means that an African-American man or a black man, of course, back then, hell, we called them colored, right? I'm, sorry for that, y'all. That's just, a black man could walk into the front door of a cafe, something I had been able to do my entire life. And that was giving away my rights. The Civil Rights Act said one of my black classmates could walk in there, sit down, order a hamburger, and eat it, just like I have been able to do my whole life. And his being able to do that was giving away my rights. And y'all, I resolved that conflict later on, because my mama was wrong. She was just flat wrong. It is axiomatic that when you extend the rights of one group to another group who does not have those rights, you don't erode anyone's rights. You enhance everybody's rights. If we are not all free, none of us are free. I wish my mother were here today. I'd love to have that conversation with her. But I think she's been reincarnated in some of y'all. Because some of y'all believe the same thing my mama believed. I can see it in your Facebook post. And let me just tell you, and this is not, I don't mean all of y'all, okay? But there are some of y'all who use the term welfare recipients as a euphemism. And again, not everybody, but you know, when the welfare recipients need to stop protesting and go back to work. Well, they weren't at work before the protest. Or here's the one, you know, welfare recipients all vote Democrat. I got a bulletin for you. I live in North Newton County. There's plenty of welfare recipients. Ain't none of them voting for Joe Biden. I assure you of that. Look, we know what you mean when you say welfare recipients. Just have the courage of your conviction, drop the N-bomb into your post, and get over it. At least be honest about what you think. We all know that's what you mean. Just say it. Good grief. Here's another way I can tell my mama is reincarnated. There are a group of people who say, Tom, there are some bad cops. And they do some boneheaded stuff, and I wish they wouldn't do that. But Tom, you really shouldn't judge all of law enforcement because of the actions of a few. Don't disrespect law enforcement because a couple of bad cops did something bad. Don't paint the whole group with a brush tainted by a handful of people who did something stupid. In the same breath, you will tell me, well, I can't hear what the protesters have to say because they're rioting and looting and burning. Really? You are that easily distracted? Have you tried Adderall? I mean, good grief. You want me to, well, not ignore, but you don't want me to judge all of law enforcement because of a few guys who did some bad things, but then you want the luxury of ignoring the entire African American race in this country because somebody burnt down a CVS. Hey, Mom, how you been? You can't hear the message because you don't want to hear the message, because then you might have to admit you were wrong. That's my 2 cents today. Wouldn't it be cool if today were the day we all stopped being afraid? Later on, y'all.